So I don't remember take four of this. Me, Trevor, dialogue, me, everything else. Let's go. Let's actually make this happen. Once again, a handsome gentleman stands in his living room. It's been a good few months since he's last settled here. He just finished up a fantastic adventure, gallivanting across the globe with only a well-worn backpack and tough hiking boots to his name. That and the cozy safety net of an immense fortune. Not that he ever needed such an inherited bounty. He preferred trading on his certain panache and street savvy to carve a dotted line through the world. It was a guided tour of the Mediterranean, but that hardly matters. It was still an adventure. But now it's over, and he is back home. And there are definitely no adventures to be found at the Skyanet apartments. Enter name. What? Okay, or accidentally hit save. Oh, shoot, I can't see the bottom UI. Oh well, we're doing this in one playthrough. Let's make this happen. Oh wait, now it's fine. Huh. Enter name? Do you think this is some sort of text adventure malarkey? Does this look like one of your Zorks or your Planetfalls or your Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxies? You are mistaking this for some text-based progenitor, for its text-based progenitor, the secret of the soul. It is advised that you take a closer gander at the graphical user interface you are presented with, and cross-reference it against your extensive knowledge of gaming genre conventions. You are playing a dating simulation, and this fine young man already has a name. It was engraved on his honorary placronym at the tender age of 13. That was almost half his life ago. You're going to have to wake up much earlier if you want to emblazon him with any moniker but his own. Fine. View name. Your name is Jake English. You are the heir apparent to a technological empire. This mostly means you live rent-free at one of Skynet's many apartment enterprises. The rest of the trappings you don't much care for. Lucky for you, your grandma does care quite a bit, and the old bird is as healthy and spry as a falcon with a fitness regime and top-tier health insurance. This allows you to live a bit frivolously, and you have a reputation among your friends for being a wanderlustful ditherer without an overabundance of purpose or direction in life. A perfectly decent fellow, though, they all agree, just a bit of a daydream believer. As mentioned, you just returned home for your latest jaunt about the world. It's a beautiful sunny day, one that fills your heart with its own cheer and sunlight. It's good to be home. It might be a good idea to let your friends know you're back. Alright, we're going to talk to Roxy.
Yep.
Roxy Lalonde, the southern belle of the fiber optic cotillion and your latterly adjacent neighbor. She's a freelance cyber witch of great renown in the right circles, mostly web rings. It's her ticket into these luxury apartments, as you understand, either as payment for services rendered or a payoff to ensure she doesn't aim her elite hacksaw skills at Skynet. Left. Roxy is a sly, savvy girl, the best of the bunch, really. A top-tier friend and a fellow indulger in both standard apartment gossip and the occasional espionage-laden shenanigan. Also looks amazing. I love the art already. She tends to keep you up to date on any hootenanny you might have missed while out on your extensive globetrotting. In fact, she will probably give you the rundown on any and all recent misadventures if you were to give her a ring right now. Call her? Yep. I mean, I guess we could do perhaps one else and read Jane's thing and then call Roxy, but we're probably going to do a second playthrough, so we can also switch it up.
Come to Roxy.
You call your good pal Roxy. Like usual, connecting to her phone doesn't give you a usual ringing sound. That would be far too simple and staid for one as exciting and cutting-edge as Roxy Lalonde. Instead, you listen to a cheerful MIDI of some JRPG battle music. You couldn't possibly say which. Battle. All of them are really long, and you don't think you finished as one of them. Yep, this is some epic Final Fantasy battle music, alright. Huh, I guess she's... Oh, fuck! Sorry, your turn.
Huh. Guess she's not around. That's a shame. Well, I'll catch up with that silicon cat burger later, I'm sure.
You hang up. I'm sorry. Contact Jane. Jane's here. Jane doesn't let us down. Jane Crocker, one of your dearest friends in the entire world. The two of you met at Little Troupineur's summer camp when you were children. It was a special program for kids born into a certain higher rung of the echelon, as you've been told. Other little heirs and heiresses camping out in the thick of it, learning how to survive the economic wilds, weather bear market attacks, and navigate the legal rapids. God, this is amazing. Mostly you did a lot of hiking and making s'mores while Jane attended all the seminars, but you kept in touch after regardless. More than once, some stuffed shirt at Skynet has mentioned that Jane would be a great asset to your grandma's corporation. You've been quick to point out Jane's admirable loyalty to her own company brand, and you doubt you'd be able to hire her. It's more about synergy, they say, about team-ups. Well, best to leave that up to your grandma, you think. And they always leave you alone, shaking their heads and bemoaning the millions they wasted sending you to Little Troupineers. She's a great pal. Call her? Yes.
Hello? Parker speaking. Hello? Oh, Jake! Are you still pressing about that landline, Miss Jane? Skynet was the inventor of caller ID, you know. You needn't be so pleased with yourself about it. I am allowed my vintage charms. Nothing so boisterous. I am simply here to inform you my safe return to the great US of A. I take it your flight was quite alright then. Nothing short of first class. By which I mean it was first class. Oh, you and your endlessly daring jet setting. It's a miracle you have time for us homebodies. I always take time for my favorite gals, Jane. I'm not much of a world-drucking eccentric. You have enough to accompany one of your favorite gals to the Galt Society's annual Philanthropist Gala this month? I, the Philanthropist Gala? Are you going? Oh, last. You forgot, didn't you? Is that this month? Geez, that's puts a right wrench in my Peru plans. Yes, it's this month. It's the same month every year. No reason to fret, madam. I will make sure I am there. Only to state my grandmother's unfathomable opinion of me as some sort of directionless trust fund vagrant. Right. I take it you don't have a date, then. Me? Now, Jane, you know me. Who would I even know to take? Don't know? Maybe a childhood friend? Fellow heiress? Someone who looks rather dashing in that particular shade of cerulean you're always going on about? Those all sound like dashing ladies, but I'm afraid my stateside friend is a little dry at the moment.
God damn it. This is so accurate, though.
I think I might batch it up as ever. No need to break tradition. Who wouldn't consider... It's only logical that I... Oh! Wait a second. I can ask Miss Roxy next door.
Oh, God damn it.
I am not sure she'd look too dashing and cerulean, but she might have a pure... Who does? I need to call you back, Jake. Official Crocker business. You know how it is. Certainly not. But I envision the stress of being the sole heir to a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Right. I'll talk to you later, okay, Jay? Surely. Have a good afternoon.
Click. She hung up. God damn it. This is beautiful. Your swinging bachelor pad is about the same as you left it, with an extra layer of dust. You will click on Shorts Illustrated, Top 10 NFL Draft Picks. Oh, this is one of your favorite old issues. There's a great tutorial for upcycling your drab old slacks into hip, fetching shorts with just a judicious application of scissors and a little hand stitching. You were so inspired you applied your newly learned skill to all those stuffy and comfortable bespoke slacks in your closet. Best decision you've ever made, if you're honest. Say, you haven't opened your mailbox in a long while. There might be several insightful new issues that's just waiting for you downstairs. Better remember to check later on. They captured his dork perfectly. This deceased wall-mounted animal actually came with apartment staging. Not your style, but it's too high up for you to take it down without a ladder, and who wants to lug a ladder up to the 3rd floor? One year you threw some Christmas lights over it to try to tie it in. Now you just can't get now you can't get those down either. To your surprise, they seem to be doing well considering you were gone so long. Perhaps you inherited your grandmother's green thumb after all.
Those plants do.
They're like the most survivable plants ever. Probably gifts from Jade. Just like, here, maybe you can manage not to kill these ones. Oh, of course. God. Your collection of cerulean beauties is a who's who of cool-toned desirables. Zoto-Zan looks as alluring as ever, and Mr. Wagner has an open invitation to bamf into your flat anytime. For propriety's sake, you will hold off on giving them all a proper greeting until you're quite sure no one is looking. Who does he think would be looking?
Us, clearly.
Us, I guess. Ahem.
Double pistols and a wink.
Nope. Continue. Oh my god, I love those options though. Inside this drawer is an old diary that's sealed from prying eyes. That appears to include yours. There's a dastardly 4-number lock, and you cannot for the life of you remember what the combination is.
Got like a combo now. Just as well. It's a boring read anyway.
Oh, that was just... Wait, now I'm confused though, because I don't know which direction we're going.
Turning around.
No, I've just seen him spinning around in his room in a circle, just going around loop-a-loop-a-loop. Alright. Shake hands with the Honorable Mr. Sandman. By now, the sun's started to set outside. The creep of jet lag has become quite taken with your body, and the bedroom is looking mighty fine in all its blue plastered, plush-bedded beauty. You decide it might be a good time for a nap. A nice, long, 14-hour nap. Seven is my favorite. You're just settling in for a morning continental when there's a brisk knock at your door. This sharp rendition of this old standby shave and a haircut, and you grab the knob before it can reach the 2 bits.
There you are. How come I had to hear secondhand from the neighbors that you finally swung your fly behind back in town? Almost enough to make me seriously consider demoting you, English. Demoting me? What title am I on the verge of having defrocked? Coveted and highly sought after title of my best friend of.
Ah! Oh my god. Okay, sorry.
I had no idea this appellation was being pinned to my breast. I certainly would have acted differently had I known. If you allow me a testimony in my defense, Rox, I did try to call you when I first arrived back home. There was no answer, and, well, in my endeavor to settle back in here in my abode, I have to try again. Surely I can be forgiven this once. Oh, I'm not even surprised. You perhaps called when I was catching up with my Rems and Zs and other important letters. I've gotten like a sleep deficit that is simultaneously bananas and completely uncool. I'm being seriously aggravated by the dude living below us. That troll gent with the lisp? I've never known him to be a ruckus maker, though he's always been something of a sourpuss. He moved out. I'm talking about the newest addition to our sweet communal hive block.
Now this is exactly what you wanted to hear. The grapes from the vine, the unkept knitting, the turning of that old mill, the hot takes from Roxy Lalonde, apartment gossip hound. And it's a real treat to come home from a long trip to discover all the new business abound. Like a fun homecoming gift.
He's only been here a few months. Couldn't tell you how long exactly. Snuck in like a thief in the night and took me a while to run into him actually. Who's got the apartments downstairs? He's renting them both. Who needs two apartments? But the part that totally sucks, and why I'm in totes going to strangle this guy, hot to trot or not, is the racket he makes right below us. Once or twice a week, this guy keeps me up all dang night with his weird noises coming from downstairs. Starts up real late at night and doesn't stop until almost morning. Well, that sounds right inconsiderate, even from a purportedly fetching bloke. A lady up all night is a terrible crime. Oh, I don't know. Sometimes it ain't so bad.
That eyebrow wiggle.
Roxy! Oh, you walked right into that one. Can't deny I did. But Roxy, about this moonlight cacophony. Have you gone to the landlord about it? Perhaps they can do something. Hate to burst your bubble, but when you don't share a last name with a matriarch of Skynet, they are way less willing to hear about your complaints. I've left messages. Month later, Newton's changed. That is a conundrum.
The rumor mill sure is spinning on its axle here. New tenant in the building, allegedly quite a looker, who can't stop causing a ruckus downstairs. It's exactly the sort of APB that you hoped for from your best chum Roxy. Not so exciting as getting lost out on an adventure halfway around the world, but you've got to take what you can get around here. Enough to whet the voracious appetite of your curiosity, at least. You'll have to keep an eye and ear out on the alert for a shot at your new downstairs neighbor. Later in the week, round after midnight. I don't think I need to read the crash. I think it was pretty evident. Something's woken you up.
Exclamation marks.
It's faint, but you think you can hear something. In your sleep-addled state, it's a little hard to tell, but it was enough to stir you from deep in the metaphorical poppy fields. You were getting your REM cycling like a regular Tour de France winner. What is that noise?
Well, I barely hear anything. Not enough to keep Roxy awake night after night. Perhaps I could just sort of go back to sleep.
That optimistic, if boring thought is smashed to bits by a cacophonous tirade humming right up through your floor. Wow, I read that poorly. The volume isn't totally unreasonable, but whatever it is makes the floor vibrate something fierce, as if the very foundation were sitting on a massive beehive. The buzzing and the vague sounds fill your room. There's no way you'll be able to sleep now.
Hell's bells in the belfry. What on earth is that? Excuse me. Hello? Could you be quieted down?
There's no end to the racket, which might be because you aren't shouting loud enough to be heard. What you should do is go down there, knock on that door, and face the perpetrator. Give him a piece of your mind and let him know that a true gentleman doesn't keep their neighbors up late into the night like this. Yeah, just put on your shoes, maybe grab a flashlight to navigate the stairs, since they're black as a witch's cat this time of night. Did you bring a baseball bat? What if the fellow's unfriendly? What if he's unfriendly and a regular heavyweight who doesn't enjoy being interrupted? Roxy said he was attractive, but did she mean in a cute way or a buff way? What if this noisy, considerate fellow is what the kids these days call Bara? That sounds scary and you don't want to do it. Knocking on a stranger's door at 2:10 is an uncouth, rude way to make introductions, and you fancy yourself to be a gentleman who would never stoop to such impolitesse? It sure is an unending din of sound. You don't really want to just sit here and listen. What should you do? Call Jane, call Roxy, put on a movie. Well, Roxy's dealing with it too, so Jane, it just seems really rude.
Holy shit, Jake, what are you doing blowing up my phone? I just saw you. Gonna give a girl ideas. Roxy. Sorry for the telephonic explosion, but I just wanted to see if you were up. I'm not sure what ideas I would be visiting on you at this hour, except good fucking lord, what is that racket? I told you. Does this 3 or 4 nights a week. If he weren't such a choice babe, I would just say to hell with it and call a popo on him, but let's you know how it is with the choice babes. I've yet to meet the gentleman behind this twilight uproar, so I'm not actually up to speed on the choiceness of the babe. What babe? The babe with the... No. No, you are not tricking me into doing the labyrinth with people again.
Look at his face. He's so excited.
Dang nabbit, I nearly got you. You wish? Gotta wake up super early to get me. Still not early enough then. Welcome to the last few weeks of my life, Jakester. But that said, I wouldn't say he's Kobe, but he's certainly high grade of choice babe. USDA certified. I'll take that under advisement. Speaking of the gentleman in question, how long is this going to go on for? Because I've had my spells of insomnia, as I'm sure you know. Yeah, noticing like hearing a shitty Michael Bay marathon through the wall at like 3 in the morning to bring me up to speed on the state of Jake. Right. Anyway, any ETA on the next shipment of Peace and Bloody Quiet to a neck of the woods? Dude usually shuts up around 4 at the latest.
That's good news. That face.
But that's hours away! Yep. So, you've been gone like way too long. Gonna hop online, do some XP grinding, get you back up to level cap. Might as well. See you in 2 shakes.
You aren't destined to get much sleep tonight, but at least you can spend some time with Roxy online. Misery loves company and all that jazz. With your headphones on, you can drown out the noise, if not the vibrations, through the floor. A little before dawn, even those finally fade away, and you gratefully go back to sleep. Zzz. After a long, exhausting night interrupted by the mysterious machinations of your downstairs neighbor, you don't feel much like an early bird, and you're not destined to get any worms. It's frustrating to wake up blurry and useless. You're beginning to understand Roxy's complaints.
Consonant? I'm completely bushed.
The idea of retreating to your bed is an alluring temptress, but you resist it. You can't throw away an entire day of some rude, potentially bodacious man you've never met. No, you decide you can't let this jerk your reins. Your laterally adjacent companion in insomnia is already awake. Through the thin walls, you can hear Roxy's cackling laughter and other voices. She's got company already? Maybe she'd welcome some more, unless it's her fancy artsy friends from the local uni. You could never hang out with that crowd. No matter. Oh, shoot, sorry.
No matter. Today I can forge my own path. Time to scrounge up something to grate the old wheels and get me up to top speed.
Okay, I've been told to go for coffee. Of the options of go for a walk in the rejuvenating sunshine, chase down a shake of caffeine at the local cafe, bask in the glow of the silver screen. That is such a capital idea. You would put it on display with its brethren around the world, Beijing and London and Vancouver. Wait, is Vancouver a capital? You're not sure. What would help you remember the basics of high school geography is undoubtedly an infusion of water with a remarkable seed of the cascara fruit. Luckily for you, there is a coffee shop 5 minutes walk from your apartment. You pride yourself on your fine taste and discerning acumen, so you forgo the caribus and alluring green sirens to patron an independent establishment a little further away. Jane loves these joints, always talking about how the ambient sounds and access to drinks helps her get through her paperwork. It's an industrious atmosphere, and most people around you are working too. Perseverance through group determination, but without having to actually speak to anyone. It sounds great to you. When you walk in, the little bell on the door rings, announcing your presence to no one. Wow, it's quiet in here. You expected a swinging environment of diligent caffeine addicts. Instead, all the chairs are pushed in and the squishy chairs are empty. There's only the barista standing on a stool behind the counter, reading a paperback. Well, that's all the better, isn't it? You may not have your wits about you in a crowd, but you can handle one person.
Afternoon there. Or is it morning? Gosh, it's funny how time flies, isn't it?
Is this why? This is definitely why we were told. The barista gives you a surly look. You realize your greeting didn't make a load of sense. All pennies and pesos out of your trap. Of.
How are you? I'm here to fulfill whatever ridiculous coffee fancies you got as quickly as possible. So long as it doesn't involve pumpkin spice or any frap whatevers.
The menu is hanging right above his head, but you are having trouble reading it. Something about how he's staring at you is making word retention bloody impossible. You read the menu 4 times, and from all you can surmise is that this place sells coffee. Probably.
Well, you sure are a steely-eyed coffee man, aren't you? What would you suggest to an itinerant coffee fiend? Probably something with coffee in it! Like, really, what would I know about your personal particular tastes? This is a coffee shop, not a Sears tent or the local community jubilation event. I can't define whatever you are, distinguished. But whether you are a distinguished guy who just wants a nice macchiato and get the hell on your way, or you're looking for an overpriced milkshake like the big chains shell out, wasting precious commodity of espresso on your pedestrian gaping sound hole.
Ah, they have nailed him, and this is beautiful. That face.
Make a decision, for fuck's sake. Frick's sake.
Oh god, that must be hard. Poor baby.
Not the other word.
Wow. Gosh. This strikes you as very big talk for someone reading at Mills and Boon's behind reading a Mills and Boone book behind the register. And honestly, the nerve! All you wanted was some coffee and conversation, which is the blessed point of places like this. Instead, you get the world's rudest barista. You can't take this outrage lying down, especially since you are here standing on your own 2 gallant feet.
I'll take an iced thing. Latte, mocha, or just straight up coffee. And do you want syrup? We're out of hazelnut.
Out of hazelnut? Oh, that does it. This is unbelievable. Not only is he rude, but his establishment isn't even adequately stocked.
That's fine. Iced coffee with vanilla, please.
You are not very good at this. After some tooling around behind the counter, he puts a plastic cup with ice and coffee in front of you.
$6.49. Holy shit, really? It's an iced coffee. The majority of it is, brace yourself, ice. I gave you the biggest size, so you might get 5 sips out of it instead of, I don't know, the maximum 3 you get from a regular. You're welcome. $6.49.
That does it. You are not going to let this mean son of a gun drag his proverbial feet all over you like a doormat. It takes a lot to rile you up, but this fellow has done it now. Give him what he deserves. Up on the drink over his head like in the movies. Ask to speak to his supervisor. Well, this is just going too far, even though the description is hilarious. This is vague. And I don't know if this is just gonna be... I don't know. Not the middle one, you choose the final.
Any, you pick.
She's gonna lag behind.
Yeah, I know she is.
I'd rather... You decide. You have to choose. It has to be you.
I can waffle on this till she says something.
Bottom?
There we go.
Okay, fine.
I have thought it over and quite thoroughly, and I think I would like to have a conversation with your supervisor. Whatever, they aren't here today. I'm the only person on this ship, so there. So here. Have it. Have at.
He hands you a comment card and a pen. Touché. You take your iced coffee and your comment card and your borrowed pen to the furthest table from him. Shielding your answers with your arm, you write out your plots, committed your complaints in reliable old blue gel ink. On your way out, you fold the card over and put it on the counter. He grabs it and immediately opens it.
Hello there, what are you doing? Shut up a sec. You're really bad at this, huh? Who? Barista was very forthcoming with his expertise on the shop's menu. Hang on, Mo. Prompt service, clean bathrooms, would come again? We don't have a public bathroom. Even back, I'll cross that bit out. Are you kidding? This is the best feedback I've ever gotten. It's mine now.
He puts it in his paperback as a bookmark.
Bye. Have a nice day. Thanks. You too.
Yeah, you can never come here again, which is a shame since the coffee was pretty good. Well, about the quality of the green siren as well. You used to drink until it's just clouded water and melting ice. Head home. Your midday excursion well concluded and behind you, it's time to retreat back to the hollowed halls of your home to take shelter. Despite all of your intentions, the day did end up a bit of a wash, didn't it? The trip to the coffee shop only doubled down on everything that's been bugging you. You played your hand, not knowing your suave opponent Discontent was sitting on some pocket aces, ready to take the whole pot. Before heading upstairs, you decide to check your much neglected mailbox, though by now you can't imagine anything squashed in that metal contraption likely to lift your mood. Maybe you should have just gone back to bed. It just doesn't seem right that this is so difficult. You're like a strip of Velcro just collecting fuzz and shit instead of making any real connections.
What is even the matter with me? Surely can't be Sophian feat to find someone to add to the old roster of chums and dames. Thrust into the seams full of tales of adventure and fortune. Cheese and fancy films and colored rug. I think I'm a decent tier face-wise.
Fancy films. The fanciest
the
film.
fanciest films.
The fanciest. Avatar.
The fanciest.
Tomb Raider.
Fanciest. Why doesn't anyone come and get a load? What has Gear got that I don't? Oh, Richard Gere. Is Witherspoon a more alluring playmate than I am? How is it that McConaughey's gotten the girl a dozen times and I not once?
You yank your bent up letters and parcels out of your box. Oh, look, another brochure for another trip abroad. You've done a dozen of these things, and what have you got to show for it? A spiffing, incredible adventure feels a lot less important without someone to share it with, or at least tell it to.
Life isn't a movie, but it is so unreasonable for a. Is it also unreasonable for a guy to want that? To just once turn the corner and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, right to someone special?
Slam. You swing the little hatch shut. It bounces back at you, so you sigh and shut it again, this time locking it up good and proper.
I can come back.
Oh, cheese and fucking crackers. Someone overheard your lunatic ramblings. Someone you share residency with. How utterly mortifying. You wince and turn to see who you've gone and given this whole one-man show to. Who is this? Who is this fetching stranger joining you in the mailroom? Can we see just like the image for a second? No, I don't think so. Or I don't know how. That is a beautiful picture of Dirk. It hits you like a Babe Ruth slammer to the dome. There we go.
Choice, babe. Excuse me.
He's clearly a choice babe. Is right here in the title. Oh my god, look at that blush.
Never mind. You seem busy. I'll mail these later. No, hang on.
That arrests the bloke mid-turn. Score 1 for English. However, you need to continue this conversation that you've gone and snipped the parachute of. There's no escape now.
Sorry, we haven't met, right? I think I remember crossing your path. No, I keep to myself most of the time.
He seems to think about it very hard before stepping closer, dropping his letters into the pickup box, then taking out his key to check his own mailbox. His hair smells like orange blossoms and sandalwood. This is just like the movies. No one actually smells like orange blossom and sandalwood outside of the movies. In the words of Chili Palmer, be cool, English.
If I'm to deduce from what I've heard through the grapevine, then you must be the gentleman in the second floor. Fine. Must be some persistent species. Ah! Well, just some whispers I've heard. Got everyone up in stir trying to suss out what exactly you get up to in the wee hours of the morn.
He nearly butterfingers his keys right to the floor before snapping them back up. Reflexes like a snake, that one.
You heard that.
Now that you've gotten a load of the midnight mayhem, you think everyone in the building's heard it. Or at least felt the seismic activity from this fellow from the second floor. He looks all discombobulated about it. Best to be kind.
Oh, only a bit. I recently got back from the Mediterranean, so I've noticed it once or twice. But other people have noticed it too. They're discussing it. It's nothing to worry about. We're just curious about what a fine fellow like you gets up to in the middle of the night. Platonically.
Thanks for clarifying.
Whoa. What? Look.
Oh, not again. You can't keep your face from falling. You've gone and served a heaping platter of your own foot right into your mouth, haven't you?
I'm sorry about the noise. And I can't promise it won't happen again. But regardless of how it shakes out, it should stop soon.
Oh. That. What a haunted expression on that fine face.
I don't mean to be a bother, but are you alright there, mister? I'll be fine. Nice meeting you. My name's Jake.
You have to stop. But the choice babe still's long enough to look back at you.
Strider. Dirk Strider. Later.
He even did the smooth James Bond thing. Yowza. Compared to earlier, that almost went well. Compared to how things usually go for you, it was a right damn social miracle. It's a shame to watch him go. A little like watching some fiend make off with a stolen trinket that you're helpless to stop them. Except you don't know this guy, so that feeling makes no sense. Your intuition feels like it's stumbling dizzily off a carnival ride, and you haven't gotten the foggiest idea why. That will have to be a mystery for another day. Maybe that next time you stagger into the path of Mr. Strider. Oh, and you've got another issue of Shorts Illustrated. The day's really turning it about, isn't it? This game is perfect and wonderful. So far, anyway. Tonight is a very special evening for you. You've been looking forward to it and planning the night with a single-minded determination. Oh yes, tonight is sure to be a barn burner. You've prepared 3 types of poppable corn ready for the microwave, 2 liters of your favorite carbonated soda in the chiller, 1 box of chamomile tea in case you're having trouble getting your sleep on after the soda. You doubt you'll need it. You can sleep with the cyber-spiritual adventures of the
Nebuchadnezzar.
Thank you. Nebuchadnezzar on the big... Oh, that's how you spell Nebuchadnezzar?
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Wow. Thank you. On the big, though not silver screen. After The Prince of Egypt, you consider the Matrix trilogy to be your favorite religious movie. You know Neo is the star, but Morpheus is just so dang cool. The rich voice, those mirrored shades that manage to stay on without any earpieces, and so many spiffy long coats. With 3 movies to watch, you have to pick your movie snack well. The first movie snack is a classic. It deserves some good old... Or the first movie is such a classic, it deserves some good old buttery popped corn. You'll save the cheesy bag for the third movie. Best get started. These cinematic treasures won't watch themselves. You are 2 movies deep into your special night with your Blu-ray player when you're very rudely interrupted.
What in the Sam hell is that? It's not even 11. Man alive, it sounds like Mr. Strider has started up early.
Crash times 2 combob! Actually, that doesn't sound very good at all. Is there some muffled shouting? It sounds less like an annoying late-night project and more like an altercation. Perhaps you should call the police? But that begs the question of, what if this is just your overreacting imagination getting away from you? If you called the fuzz on Dirk, you're fairly certain that you're going to throw a lot of cold water on your relationship. The potential possible future relationship that so far only exists in your daydreams. You wonder if he likes movies. More concerning sounds. However, if he's hurt and you remain an apathetic bystander, you will be the worst person the world has ever known and might actually become the first documented case of someone dying of guilt. Jesus criminy, who is at that door? What if it's Dirk? What if it's not Dirk? You have to be brave. Quest bravery from Roxy. Get an assist from Jane. Equip creep destroyer. Let's not shoot whoever's at the door, and also that's Roxy's knock, so I think this one will be pretty ironic, unless they only have one knock, but if there is anyone who can help you, it's your laterally adjacent neighbor. No answer. Just more JRPG music. You haven't the time to sit here and listen today. Alright. Should we call Jane?
Yeah.
Janie is always a bastion of calm wisdom and decisive action. You give her a ring, eagerly anticipating her take on the stitch. Directly to voicemail. Oh, right. She has that fancy gala shindig to attend, didn't she? As much as you might benefit from her help, you doubt you'll be able to raise her if she's preoccupied schmoozing and such. Creep destroyer. Baseball bat? Really? What happened to your guns, Jake? Where are your guns? There. Now are you ready to destroy your homestead? Defend your homestead and any choice babes that would happen to require it. Open door. I knew it.
Holy shit, Jake, are you practicing your swings in a time like this? Always figured you for a pitcher, but...
Oh my god. Rox. You lower your handy-dandy slugger.
Roxy, you should give me a startle.
Continued cacophony.
What are you doing here? What's going on downstairs? I don't actually know. Look, okay, I thought I'd be some sneaky hacker babe and take a pixie downstairs to get a load of what the H is going on. There are some real tough-looking customers down there. Big dudes in these, like, red-like hazmat suits. I only got a glimpse before I totally got scared and came running right under your skirts. Metaphorically, or literally, if that option is on the table. You see Dirk. Who? Oh my god, is that his name? Joyce, babe? Dexter, did you make contact with that third hottie from the sun? Yes, and I will tell you all about that later, but for right now... Hey, shut up a second.
You both take a moment to stop flapping your gums at each other. The problem is very evident. All the noise has stopped.
Oh, shit. I feel better once it stopped. I know what you mean.
Most of what you know about Mr. Strider is a sort of imagined catalog of his actions built off the many strange noises that have come from his apartment. Now that it's gone suddenly silent, you really wish it hadn't. Roxy drops to the floor with her ear to the hardwood while you gnaw your lip nervously. After a long moment, she springs back up with a fire in her eyes. You know what you have to do.
Let's go investigate. I was about to say yes, absolutely. I mean, provided the big scary jerks are gone, I I don't want to cross paths with anyone who does cause to be wearing a big scary plastic suit. So yeah, totally. Let's roll out.
Tally ho. Sneaking out of your apartment with Roxy clutching the back of your shirt, you manage to make your way to the stairwell. Mustering every modicum of bravery you have, you tiptoe down the stairs. There's no sign of any mooks, lackeys, or baddies. It's still quiet down here. Upon reaching the second floor landing, you can see one of the apartment doors is open. Gulp.
Looks like they hamscrayed. Oh, me? Why me? So loud. Shh. Shh. Go on. I'll watch just to see what's up.
She gives you a firm shove between the shoulder blades, and you stumble halfway to the apartment. You can do this. You have this. Examine Dirk Strider's apartment. This looks decidedly not good. The place looks fairly barely in, like someone moved out in a hurry, or like they were hit by some kind of secretive, dangerous strike force that also moved them out in a hurry. There's little sign that anyone lived here. Grand open space and a scattering of leftover possessions. You can see some scrape marks on the floor. There's not a hint of Mr. Strider. You may as well look around. Look for any kind of answer. Anything. Oh. Something finally catches your eye, attached to the face of the fridge. Landline. 555-6368. It's a sticky note proclaiming through jaunty but legible penmanship the number to a landline? Oh, you completely forgot this building had landlines. They're those big plasticky things mounted on the walls. You mostly use yours as an improvised shelf for some succulents. From here you can see the spot where Dirk's apparently was. Now just some pulled screws and an empty phone jack. This is a rather sorry way to get a digits. You'd prefer something like handing over your phone after a nice meet-up and having them punch in their number. Or that thing where they find a pen and write it on your palm while you try and ignore how ticklish you are. Not like this.
Jake, come on. Take those sirens, we don't want to get caught by the popos. Right, coming.
Wait, was there other stuff I could have clicked on and I just happened to go to the one that ended it? You escort Roxy back to her door before ducking back into yours, promising to regale her with a tale of how you got Dirk's name tomorrow. Now you're alone. The sticky note is still crumpled in your hand. Did you just do that in Roxy's voice?
No, because you distracted me with things and I was not ready. 555-6368.
A wise person once said that 555 phone numbers are the speed bumps of fiction. But now, what has your road all... Rocky, is this it? This can't be it. You remember when you met the man and you felt something there, your compass finally swinging north after itinerant years without direction. It'd feel like something special. All that's left is this number to a landline in an empty apartment. Not for the first time, you have the distinct impression that you've missed something of great importance, a connection left squandered. You're just not sure where it went so awry. This feeling you just cannot shake from your mind.
We could just do it all again. I'm sure it would go differently.
You could just begin again. For now, you ball up the old note and toss it in the trash. Maybe next time will be more of an adventure. Dun, dun, dun. Take 2, start. A handsome gentleman, blah blah blah. It's been a good few months since he last settled here. He just finished up a fantastic adventure, gallivanting across the globe with only well-worn back blah blah blah. Blah. I'm not going to read the whole thing again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Right. Blah, blah, blah.
Yes, we've seen this already. Yes, here I am, Jake English.
Okay. Call someone? You're compelled by a silly idea. Sure, you could hit up your chums with their bright familiar icons on your contact screen, but out of the wild blue yonder, you are seized by the desire to do something a little more exciting. Looking over the dialer, you drag your thumb erratically over the number pad. Not all of them line up properly, but after a moment of japery, you have settled on 7 golden digits. 5556368. Didn't someone once say something dreadfully clever about 555 numbers? While you were trying to remember whatever that nugget of sardonic wisdom is, you hit the big green button, and your phone begins dialing. Oh well, what are the odds that some random string of digits actually...
Hello. Who is this? How'd you get this number?
End of episode 1. Tune in next time for another episode of Jake English Adventure.
Trolled.
Okay, so this is the demo, and there's not a set date of when the actual thing is coming out, but I am clearly excited.
That
looking
was
forward.
pretty great.
Yeah.
Sure was. I cannot wait for the rest of it now. How long?
So, hopefully soonish, and we'll definitely do this again because that
Thanks,
was fun.
everyone. Had a great time.
Oh, keep going? Need to learn stuff. Okay. So, I guess we'll just play through all of the options that we haven't done yet. And speed through everything that's not different. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, so I think we've already been through Contact Jane and Roxy.
Call Jane every time. Call Jane again?
No, that's not what she meant. She meant later on when we didn't call her, we just contacted Roxy. Which means we probably don't need to do this. Okay. Do socializing. Oh, whoops. Let me... Clicky, clicky, clicky.
Jane. Hello? Miss Crocker. Sorry to bother you for an hour. Oh, Jake. Good evening. Aloha, Jane. Good evening. This hour can be generously called such a thing. Rather late, but I don't mind. I wanted to apologize for ending our last conversation so suddenly. I'm not sure what got into me. No, blimey. It goes again. What? My new neighbor. Roxy warned me that he was both handsome fellow and a rather riotous one. What? A handsome, riotous fellow. Find him handsome. Well, I thought the rumor mill has whispered, though I admit me and Miss Alon tastes have aligned before. That Aragon has a way of bringing people together. Elisar, Strider, whatever his name was. You know, the prince guy. up a minute. He's making the darndest noises downstairs, Jane. It sounds almost inhuman. You're listening? Oh, it's very hard not to. Oh. Lucky he's so supposedly cute and potentially muscular, or I'd knock on his door and give him what for. You're... Back up a minute. Are you telling me you're... Very much so. Oh, just the thought of such a forward pillow is making me red under the collar. Don't... This is all so sudden. It goes again. Jane? Jane, are you there? Huh.
She hung up. Best you take the opportunity to try and sleep.
Poor Jane.
We've already read this before, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we have. So let's try the other ones now. There's nothing, absolutely nothing more bracing than an afternoon spent out under the grand old day star itself. You would consider yourself part plant, the way you photosynthesize. Going out after a long, rough night is just the thing you need. You're lucky enough to live in a green enough city that you can take your pick of outdoorsy activities. Hiking is a favorite pastime of yours, and the prospect of lacing up your mud kickers is tempting, but after leaving your apartment and hearing more jubilation from Roxy's place, even a solitary wandering bachelor can long for a bit of connection, you know? So instead of going out and continuing with this great wide bewilderness, you make for the dog park. The fenced-in plot of communal greenery is peppered with cheerful tongue-extended wallops of pure love, better known as dogs. You slip inside the double gates and are immediately accosted by a Great Pyrenees and significantly smaller Boston Terrier. You love the dog park. You're very popular here, at least with a canine clientele. Maybe it's your boots. They provide the pooches with an aromatic tour of at least 3 continents. That must be better than TV to a dog.
Whoa there! Slow down, ladies and fellas.
Dogs are the friendliest sort of creatures on the universal block that you would be lying if you said you weren't overtly fond of them. You sit down on your regular bench and happily appreciate the view of about a dozen or so of the puppers racing around the established park. It's not that pathetic to wander down to your local dog park for a quick tussle with man's best friend, right? There's something so calming about patting a nice pup amidst the resounding woofs and boofs of its friends. They really are lovely and majestic creatures, deserving of every best friend moniker they may or may not possess, and they seem to like you too. So it's not that bizarre of a fashion to wander down to your local dog retreat for some fun games. Maybe you should consider getting a pup of your own. Maybe you should consider making some actual friends. Soon enough, a fluffy Bichon with a lovable sort of face comes up to sniff the toe of your shoe. You give him a good scratch behind the ears and pat the forehead.
Good boy. Oh, what a cute dog.
A troll woman with a very flat voice and a very, very strange smile suddenly appears beside you. She helps herself to a seat on the bench. Oh, blast! It wouldn't be very becoming of you to just be some lonesome stranger eyeing other people's dogs.
Well...
Oh, God.
Sure.
No.
Yes, actually, he's a mighty handsome fella, isn't he? Yes. Totally. I agree completely.
Oh no, think fast. God damn it, Jake. Pull a name for your knowledge of pop culture. Look to your surroundings for non-comical name inspiration. Don't complicate it. Just use a human name.
Pop culture.
Yeah, there's only one answer for Jake.
His name is, Scoopy Spokane, Washington. Yep, that's his name. Don't wear it anywhere. Don't wear it anywhere near out. Oh, geographical. Precisely. So, disregarding all that, hopefully and efficiently, which one of these prize pooches happens to be yours? Honestly, want to meet him? Is there a reason why I wouldn't? I like your reasoning, owner of oddly named Bichon. Rebus, come here, boy.
A hefty-looking Doberman bounds upwards from where it had been, tackling a confused golden retriever to the ground. It stops just short of the bench, with a broad chest and wagging tail stump. Its mouth is large and toothy, as unnervingly leering as its owners. What? No, Dobermans are adorable.
Greetings! Alright. Thanks.
You drag a careful hand across the large dog's head and find it surprisingly velvety. Your nerves melt slightly with a happy press the dog gives against your palm, and you boldly decide to give him a little scritch too.
Anubis is an Egyptian god, right? Pretty fond of ancient myths. Anthropology, mythology. No kidding. Here I was thinking I was the only soul this side of Sunday for such archaic passions. Right. I see that now. Sure.
Ruin reaches down to scoop up the dog that you definitely do not own and props it up on her lap. Why, Jake, why did you just... She pets it a few times, and despite her unwavering and vaguely frightful smile, you find the scene to be quite sweet.
Nice to meet you. Is this... Friends is? Beth.
It looks
That
purple.
says Beth.
Yes, and it's spoken, and it's not in red. I think maybe Aridin? Yep, Aridin.
Beth? Beth? Beffery? Where are you?
A loud voice echoes frantic across the dog park. You and Aradia looked up to see a man tripping over a scarf to break up a small herd of dogs. When he stands up to right himself, he spots the two of you too.
Beffers, honey. There you are. What are these poor land-dwelling sacks of cancer-prone red meat doing to you?
Hootenanny cockers, you've been found out. Free-breathing blazers, the jig is up. Fuck, fuck, fuck.
Oh, look at this cute dog. I'm looking at all I'm seeing is my own third runner-up regional award-winning Bichon Frise Faf. It's my Bichon. I'd recognize my salmon coral collar anywhere. It's important. New York top-the-line stuff, if I'd say so myself. Also, that name tag should say Beth. No. No.
Her face also makes it better.
It's not. I did not. Before or after she died. I wonder what she's gonna say when she gets back from studying. Her name is Fifth. Fifth Ferrari. But that's not important. What should be in the forefront of our minds is that there's a dog thief right here in... Well, wait. Where'd he go? Who? The guy. aforementioned meat sack. Well, you're the one who's getting friendly with him, bloke. You haven't even introduced me. Yeah. My dog pack.
Ooh, that was a close one. Yet another socially unsavory situation salvaged by a professional neighborhood socialite, Jake English. You should probably, eventually, get a dog. You head home to your apartment and attempt to let the awkwardness of the evening roll off your shoulders. Trip just, yeah, it's the same other than dog part. And probably the same everything else, I'm guessing.
Well, howdy there, Janie. What can I do for you this fine evening? Hello yourself, Mr. English. I was just calling to ask you something. Certainly, my good lady. What seems to be the query? It's nothing really. Just prying into things that surely and most probably aren't my business. Ah, a lack of business is your game. Might I recommend you your dear mutual Roxy? She is sure to have the scoop on anything you may deem interesting, and just about everything else in thing too. No, no, not at all. This pertains to you specifically, actually. I was just, you know, wondering, is all, if you ever ended up finding a date for the Galt Society's annual Midwinter Solstice Philanthropist Gala. The what now? The Galt Society's annual Midwinter Solstice Philanthropist Gala. Oh, is that tonight? What? Yes, of course it's tonight. It's the solstice. It's the solstice every year. Right, right. Suddenly, I quite knew that. I cancelled my Peru trip and everything. So, do you? What? Do you have a date, you ninny?
You wonder if an evening with Trinity counts. Probably not.
Well, not as such. No, I guess not. Wait, but you bought your tickets, didn't you? And paid the mandatory $1,000 to the Wild Taper Rescue Fund? I mean, uh, well, Wild Taper is such a bizarrely specific animal to be saving, don't you think? You never even bought tickets, did you? I most certainly did. You know how crowded the mailbox gets when I'm out and about? Though, Jane, it probably simply got lost in the mail. Maybe next solstice, So you're not even attending. A right shame. It'll have to take a rain check, Jane dear. I hate to disappoint. Though this isn't the first time I've ducked out of these with a big social arrangements. Doubt Gran will be too fussed. Hey, Jay, what if... You know, my mother always buys a plentiful amount of extra tickets for the poor folks who runs down the social economic ladder can't get their hands on them. Just wanted to offer, that is, if you'd like... Or, look, I'm trying to say that I would be downright honored to have you as my plus one, Jake. If you, that is, if it's you.
Oh, all the boys and several of the howdies. This would be an excellent point to drop some news of frightful, urgent prior obligation that would prevent you from attending this swish taper-themed shindig. Somehow you doubt the pending engagement with the leather-clad hacker prophets and their tricky binary labors is going to cut it. Dang nabbit, and you thought all that drama of the phones and the Matrix was a bit of a hassle. This is far more treacherous than having Agent Smith on your tail feathers. Fit an excuse quick. Rely on good old Roxy for now. Go to the gosh damn gala, you cad. Follow your instincts in this tense predicament. I kind of want to see it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the gosh darn gala, you can.
But we're gonna look at all of them eventually, so. It's true you have an important arrangement with your DVD collection, and you are simply not the sort to skip out on important dates. That so stated for the record, Jane is really such a dear. Maybe you should put on your best monkey suit and bite this particular social bullet.
You know what? Perhaps the papers might be worth looking into after all. They're the ones with the funny sorts of noses, aren't they?
Alright, hold on a second.
Remember what a taper looks like?
I'm just gonna... For everyone watching, this is a tapir. I would definitely describe them as having funny sort of noses.
I don't think they can see our funny sorts of noses.
They can.
Oh, okay. I always mix them with anteaters. So, you'll attend after all? I suppose so. Sure. Really? Oh gosh. Golly, I was hoping you would, but... Well, frankly, I thought this would be more of a to-do, getting you to commit to, or, your social duties as an heir has always been an uphill battle. This is great. I'm so glad I can just toss out all these note cards. Note cards? Never mind that. I will be glad to pick you up in a jiffy. Remember, it's a black tie event. Put your best foot forward, and I'll have the sharpest fillet in the place on my arm.
He's gonna go with suit shorts.
Definitely. Tuxedo shorts. Right, we'll do.
Click. Tuxedo shorts? Do we get to see the tuxedo shorts? Well, it appears your plans for the evening have taken a marked turn. Let's see what you've got hanging in the back of the closet. Should be a knee-high pinstriped number you tend to count on for these engagements.
Oh my god, yes.
Please, please, we need to see this. Ooh, the very word is a bit scary, isn't it? Engagement. You'll have to be mighty careful tonight. Please, please. No, please let us see it. Please, please, please. It's time for the fancy pants dance, and you suppose you're ready. You've dusted off the finer threads from the back of your closet and unearthed your Oxfords from under a mountainous pile of old boots. They don't fit well these days, but you'll deal. If you showed up in even your nicest hikers, Jane would probably go misery on you. Not that you don't think this will be a rich snorter of a good time. There will be music and those little snacks on silver trays and plenty of well-heeled folks to rub elbows with. It's sure to be a great evening. Oh, why? I wanted to see the.
Oh, cripes! Is it already time to go? Time is sure winged thin, isn't it?
Just as foretold, the limo is waiting for you outside to convey you to the gala, right before sunset. Its curbside compatriot is far more interesting. You've seen boring white vans used by every business in the area from catering to landscaping, and you've seen suspicious black vans in plenty of modern action flicks. The lacquer red of the van parked alongside the building is a new one. What sort of business flaunts itself so ostentatiously? And what business do they have here? Shouldn't he know? Like, that's clearly Crocker and related. Oh, I guess it's not exactly Crocker. It's got the fork. Maybe it's still got the spoon. Anyway. Whatever natural curiosity demands of you is squelched. Your ride is here. You have a gala to extend. It's no time for gumshoery when you're stuck wearing Oxfords. Party until the sun comes up. Well. Look, you do spend a solid chunk of the evening by Jane's side. With her arm linked through yours, you feel like quite the accessory to her networking. Jane's a devil with a black dress, working her way around the ballroom, greeting a bursting Rolodex of people with prompt familiarity. How she remembers them all, you have no idea. You're pretty sure she knows more people by name than you've met in your entire life.
Usually these gatherings can be quite the ordeal. It's a relief to have some backup in the corner, Jake. Thank you for coming. Real evening. It's no trouble at all. Finding a lady who just is proud would be about the most ungentlemanly thing imaginable. Not so bad. This sort of thing we need to excel at, given our futures. Too right. And if it's a struggle for you, well, you could always to this more swimmingly them loan you their indubitably.
As the party winds on, the aggressive hobnobbing wears off as people split off into groups to drink and chit chat. It's really not your type of crowd. You don't know the state of Skynet stocks, nor any of its winter releases. You always forget to read those emails. After a while, you wriggle your way to a quiet corner while Jane's ensnared into a complicated net of corporate gossip and social nicety. You just need a bit of a break, as well as a chance to get off your feet. These old shoes were never properly broken in and feel like prancing about in a pair of bear traps. While you are cooling your heels, your phone rings. For a moment, you fear Jean is summoning you back to her side, but the caller ID is much more inviting.
Aloha, Roxy. What are you calling about at this hour? Jake, holy shit, where are you? Doesn't matter. There's shit going down here. Some scary dudes in red hazmat suits just came in like gangbusters. Never seen them before. They are acting all authoritative and shit. And get this. They are blocking off the second floor landing. What? You mean Doug's apartments? They're who? Wait, Jake, did you meet that choice babe? Got his name? Jealous. Foxy, focus, please. What's going on down there? I have no idea. They won't let anyone off the stairs or the elevator there. And the cat like curiosity or not, I am not about to push the issue with some scary peeps. Man, it's kind of a racket down there. I thought it was noisy before, but now it sounds serious. Oh, I wish there was a freaking out and at least freak out together.
You really lost that one.
I'm sorry, Roxy, but Judy got me to attend this charity gala for papers with her, and look, I'll endeavor to return home post haste. Hang in there.
You hang up on her before she can even try and talk you out of it. You have to go get home. After all, it sounds like Dirk might be in trouble, and you're the one with a potentially powerful last name. If you could do anything to help. You head to the door, tapping on one of those handy-dandy taxi ride apps to get a pair of sympathetic wheels on the double.
Jake?
Uh-oh. Speaking of potentially powerful last names.
Jeepers, Jake. Where are you running off to? Like there's a fire under your coattails. If someone say something, just point me towards them and I'll have a few words with them. No, it's fine. Or actually, it's not fine at all. Jimmy, I've had a bellwether blast this fancy party, but I have to fucking double. What? But it's only just started. They haven't even served dinner yet. Wait, then what was that salmon deal before? It was just an appetizer. I did say you didn't need seconds. Oh, well, not important right now. Dash the dinner plate on pavement for all I care. There's trouble back at my place. Some unscrupulous vagabonds have invaded and might be doing some damage to Mr. Strider downstairs. Strider? The fellow who's been keeping Roxy up for months now his inconsiderate nocturnal activities? Jake, don't you think this is best left to the police? I've met the fellow, Jane, and he is just about the most dour lamb I've ever met. The idea of him stuck all on his lonesome against some tough customers is too much for my heart to handle. What? Your heart? Taxi, I'm sorry, Jenny, but I gotta go. I'll catch you later, okay? Jake!
Whoa. Poor Jane. It's okay. She'll get together with Roxy and Callie and everything will be happy. She sure doesn't sound happy or understanding about these extenuating circumstances, but he will handle that at a later date. Now you javelin hurl yourself into the back of the cab and give the driver your address and implore on them to make it snappy. You arrive on the scene too late. You blame the traffic and the fact that your taxi driver refused to accept bribe to drive faster. That always works in the movies. But no, by the time you arrive home, the red van is missing, and there is police tape cordoning off the second floor. Mr. Strider appears to be missing as well. What a tremendously shitty end to the day. This was veritably the polar opposite of what you intended to happen. In your mind's eye, you imagine swooping in just in time to intercede somehow. You don't know what you would have done, really, but it would have been very impressive. But now, all you have is the soft strobe of red and blue lights outside, and an eerily quiet night in your home. Dignabbit, if only Jade hadn't roped you in on that glitzy soiree. No, that's not fair to her. It certainly gave her a certain impression, and you can't blame her for not capitalizing on it. It's just her ways. They are not unlike the ways of a driven, enterprising young woman.
I feel like it wasn't meant to go this way.
Oh, and I think this is the same thing. So, apparently there's subtle differences if we want. We can see that if you don't call Jane and then call her in the night, or call Jane and not Roxy.
Eh?
But, though, oh yeah, the last thing is staying home all night, so I don't think that'll be meeting any new characters, so I'm actually okay with that if you are.
Yep.
And anyone who wants to see the little subtle differences, the download where you can find this, or the paste about it is in the description. I don't think I put the exact download page, but you can find it on the Tumblr. And thanks for joining us.
Bye, everyone. Laters.